No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mindell. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Good morning, Winnipeg. Good morning, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this morning on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good morning, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Alongside Dave Manouk, I'm your host, Drew Mindell. You knew that it would be difficult or more difficult for the Winnipeg Jets to score goals without Kyle Connor in their lineup. Goal scoring has been an issue for the Jets all season long, and it reared its ugly head tonight, particularly on the power play, as the Jets drop a 2-1 decision to the formerly last place San Jose Sharks. Good morning, David. Nice to see you on what is now Wednesday morning. A game that the Jets will rue their missed opportunities 0 for 5 on the power play, and it ends up biting them in the behind as San Jose gets a late goal and the Jets cannot match it to lose this game and fail to win 5 in a row and thus fail to move back atop the Central Division.
I don't know how many people predicted the team that had the minus 54 goal differential and coming into tonight's game was going to be the winner. But I will say, as I mentioned in today's pregame report, that these are not the same San Jose Sharks that you were used to seeing that were giving up 10-2 games to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Then they do back-to-back 10-goal games or all in close proximity. So these Sharks weren't very good early in the season. They have been playing much better hockey. They took the
5-2-1 in their last 8 entering tonight.
Yeah, and they took the Golden Knights to a shootout, and they beat the Rangers. They lost to the
Islanders,
Rangers.
the Red Wings.
Yeah, but the point is they've beaten some decent teams, and they've been playing much better hockey. Having said that, the Jets' power play is abysmal, and it's just that's the difference in the hockey game. Laurent Brossoit was excellent, and he had to be early on. He gave them enough of a chance to win that hockey game, and you don't love the penalty calls, fine. I mean, I can understand that, especially late in the game. You don't want to see
penalty on DeMello. I didn't have a problem with that
No,
call. I thought that was a penalty.
The thing that's but just before that, you could argue that David Gustafsson got interfered with twice on the shorthanded chance.
Sure.
And if they call that, it knocks out the rest of it, and there's no goal.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, if you're going to call the game tight, then call the game tight. It's kind of like the whole thing about officiating anyways. And then they give that kind of late makeup call to Mark Scheifele. And again, that was a penalty. But anyways, it is what it is. It doesn't really make a difference. The Jets didn't take advantage of their opportunities. And, look, they don't give up for the 16th straight game, more than 3 goals, but or 17th straight game at this point, Drew.
Now. Yeah.
But like again, you're not, Laurent Brossoit can't score goals. He saved a lot. And, again, how many of those chances on Blackwood would you call like high danger, really? I mean, again, like a lot of the shots were from the outside, the perimeter. Just played like a perimeter team today, really. There was not a lot from the inside. And you could suggest that the Sharks did a lot of that, but I don't know. Like it was an entertaining game. But again, like I said, I think it's just one of those games that the Jets are going to rue, that their power play just stunk. And that's all. I mean, it was predictable. It was slow. Again, we're talking about the same things we've been talking about, it seems like, all season long.
Yeah. It was on the perimeter, and look, the book on San Jose is pretty evident. The Sharks, when they're in their own zone, are basically playing the 6 goaltender approach, where everyone is collapsing so low that it's almost impossible to get a shot through clean, especially when you're on the man advantage. I mean, when they're on the man advantage, they're just collapsing so low and just saying, try and squeeze one through. And the Jets were looking for the perfect shot. And I understand that, it gets into your mindset that you don't want the shot to be blocked, but the Jets win every puck battle, and the Jets won most of the puck battles in tonight's game. San Jose, the MO, you watch that first period. San Jose is a pretty fast team when they have room to skate. And the first, 10 minutes of this game, or anytime San Jose was dangerous, it was in transition, and it was and they were able to move the puck. They couldn't win a puck battle along the boards or down low if their life depended on it. And I thought, particularly in the third period, the Jets may have played into their style a little bit by opening up the game. This was not a game that the Jets wanted to open up, and they didn't open it up that dramatically. I'm not saying that it was fire wagon hockey, but that's the only way San Jose was going to succeed, was in transition, or in or with a man advantage. 5-on-5, if it was a grinding style, the Jets controlled it. Anytime a puck was sent in deep, the Jets were able to win the puck battle. The Jets were able to forecheck effectively and get the puck and be able to get a scoring chance, or at least keep possession. And on the power play particularly, and I know most power plays aren't usually puck battle situations because you have the extra man on the ice, but I thought that the Jets were trying to find the perfect shot too much. I'd rather would have seen more just pucks towards the net, and sure, they might be blocked. That's what San Jose does, but then you go win that puck battle. So yeah, San Jose is going to block it, but you then go win the puck battle because you have more numbers and you are outnumbering the Sharks. Your mic is muted, Dave, so I don't know what you just said there.
I was going to say, but just to jump in quick, how did the Jets score the first goal? A screen, right? Like they used the screen, and again, like I said, when most goaltenders are stopping their shots, like I'm sorry, their shots there was a lot of time. There wasn't a lot of speed. So, and the folks in the chat are recognizing this, and we appreciate everyone joining us here. It's a late night or early morning as Drew started off the show, a Legal Curve post game show, but it's one of those, again, I understand why folks are frustrated, right? Because you're seeing the Sharks. And again, regardless of the fact that the Sharks aren't necessarily the way their record reflects.
Yeah,
the
they've
fact
played
of the matter
better
is,
hockey since the start of the season. I mean, their start was so bad that it ended their season in terms of any playoff aspirations, but they shouldn't have had any. You see their team. It's a team of mishmash. It's a team of veteran guys who are on one-year contracts, who really are the kind of guy who only gets a one-year contract on bad teams at this point in their career. Mike Hoffman, Anthony Duclair. I mean, these are guys who are bounce around the league on one-year deals, looking for going to teams that would need a veteran presence for some young players.
Right. And I guess what I'm saying is that, look, if you're Winnipeg and you recognize it, you've lost Kyle Connor. Okay. We don't know how long right now. All we've heard is 2 games, according to the team. We'll get an update on Friday. Mike McIntyre of the Winnipeg Free Press is saying he's been told it's 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Which obviously is not great, but it's a lot better than what it could have been, which, based on what we saw, looked bad. But again, we'll get that final analysis. He's being evaluated in Winnipeg. For those who are curious, we'll get the Jets are traveling on Thursday after their game tomorrow in LA. So we'll find out from Rick Bowness likely on Friday after practice what the update is on Kyle Connor and that sort of thing. But look, you're not going to score as many goals. I don't care who's in the lineup. You're not replacing Kyle Connor. He's the leading, like I think I saw it on before I think Marty Baron was talking about it. Kyle Connor had 17 goals. Does anybody else even have 10? Right. So you're not replacing this guy who's your top goal scorer. Now that means it's so much more critical for Gabe Vilardi, Nicola Ehlers, Cole Perfetti, Mark Scheifele, guys who can score, that are going to have to pick up that slack and do it a little bit by committee. But the fact of the matter is, you're going to have to win these games. And again, I still don't understand why this team is choosing to go 11-7.
Doesn't make any
sense.
It
makes no sense to me. It just doesn't make any sense to me why. I just cannot fathom why they feel they need to include Logan Stanley in the lineup right now. And I'm not saying that this whole game is Logan Stanley's fault. By no stretch of the imagination was it. The Jets can't score. So that's the fault is in the fact that they can't score a goal. But I don't understand it. It's interesting. And I wrote about it again in the pregame report, Drew, which you read, of course. But the fact of the matter is that Rick Bowness a week ago said that Nate Schmidt was a veteran. We're not going to keep him out of the lineup, for very much longer, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So Nate Schmidt sat 4 straight games. And again, I anticipated that he'd get back into this game against San Jose. He does. But why do you need Logan Stanley? Again, like I said, I don't really care one way or another about Logan Stanley, but I just don't understand what did you need to go. It's funny because Rick Bowness himself, I think, or maybe it was Scott O'Neill, they're talking about how they don't love 11-7. And sometimes out of necessity, I get it. but I just don't understand why they felt the need in this game against a team like San Jose that you wouldn't want to have someone like Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, a little speed in the lineup. And again, he had been playing well.
Well, go forecheck. I mean, again, against a San Jose team that you can go and you can forecheck and you can win puck battles. Well, that's Axel Jonsson-Fjällby in a nutshell.
Right.
And I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying here about the 11-7, and and so if you're going to go and okay, fine, you want to go 11-7, doesn't make it makes even less sense to me that Logan Stanley is one of those 7.
Well, why not put Chisholm in?
Yeah, why not? But it's going to be a skating game. It's a skating game.
It's going to be a skating game. You need a guy who can make a good, effective first pass.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, I just didn't understand the idea that if you want to keep these guys all fresh, like you've just played Stanley, 4 games in a row?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't really, I don't care about these people one way or the other. But to me, I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself, like, what has he done in these 4 or 5 games that has merited this sort of loyalty to him, if you will, to keep him in the lineup? Again, unless there's some sort of like 4D chess played where you want to, again, like showcase him or whatever you want to call.
And I've heard that argument. I've heard people say, well, they're showcasing him. Well, I mean, first of all, if any team is interested in trading for Logan Stanley, fine, but you have years upon years upon years now of video. How much more showcasing do you need? How much more video do you need to see to decide if you want to acquire him or not? I don't buy that. I don't believe that they're playing him to showcase him, because the more you watch him, the less appealing he's going to be on the trade.
You're doing the opposite of a showcase.
Yeah, exactly. You're driving down his value is what you're doing in my case. And again, if he can't play against, I mean, look, and we don't want them to turn this into the shit on Logan Stanley show, because
it wasn't just him.
Right, it's not just him. You score only 1 goal, you're not going to win very many. But you can't help but look at the game-winning goal and see that he had an opportunity, he had the puck on his stick, and he failed. He failed to clear the puck while shorthanded. Mm-hmm. And look, it was not a pretty night for him. There were a couple times where he had bad turnovers, and there were a couple times where he got his pocket picked. Yeah. And I don't know if you're playing 11-7 because Josh Morrissey played 30 minutes on Sunday against Anaheim, and you're worried that your defense might have heavy legs and you want a 7th defenseman. Fine, if that's the case, so be it. If you want to go, you have one for that reason.
Declan Chisholm.
Well, that's just it. It doesn't make any sense that Logan Stanley is in your lineup and Declan Chisholm is still sitting. I don't know what Logan Stanley brings to the table. And I've been saying this for a while now. So I've been saying this, remember last year when Logan Stanley's agent came out and, it was announced that he was seeking a trade to get more playing opportunities. And I couldn't help but just start laughing. I mean, fine. Okay. I don't know why the Winnipeg Jets are holding on to him for dear life. And I wonder, and I'm not saying I know because I don't know. Let me make it perfectly clear. I don't know for fact, but I wonder if this is a dictate from the general manager versus the head coaching decision. Because don't for a second think that sometimes, that doesn't happen. It does happen sometimes where the general manager might, insist or might strongly suggest that player X should be in the lineup, and then the coach either has to abide by that or not. And I don't know that that's the situation in the the case in this situation, but that's crossed my mind as a possibility, because I cannot for the life of me understand what Logan Stanley brings to this Winnipeg Jets roster. And I'm not saying you have to trade him, because I don't think there's that big of a market for him. But I have no problem with keeping him, to reinforce your defensive depth. And if that means he has to be the Kyle Capobianco of last year and play, every 20 games, so be it. But I just don't understand the need to have him in the lineup while a guy like Declan Chisholm, if you're going to go 11-7, is languishing there night in and night out after having gone down to the Moose for his conditioning stint, playing decently, more than decently, I suppose, in the games that he did get into the Jets lineup. And now he's just twiddling his thumbs while players who are worse than him, in my mind, get continued opportunities.
Well, it's interesting because the one thing that Rick Bowness talked about with respect, actually, to Declan Chisholm was the idea that he didn't pass off his problems to other people.
Right.
And you can't say that about some of the plays we saw tonight where guys put themselves into bad positions and then just hot potato to puck away.
Yeah.
And not in a way that facilitated their teammates to get the puck, to break it out and go the other way. So that was what was kind of striking me was I was like, well, again, like, and this isn't limited to just a Logan Stanley. There were a lot of plays I thought where guys just made questionable decisions. But yes, ultimately it's just one of those roster moves that I just didn't understand, because I'm like, well, okay, I understand why you go with 11-7 when they did it last week, but I just didn't understand the need to do it today because look, you were off yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't as if you practiced hard. And yeah, it was a interesting game against the Ducks, and Connor Hellebuck had a lot of work, but I mean, it's the Sharks, and I know they're playing better, and I know that they've given a lot of teams fits, but like I said, you get Nate Schmidt back in there, he's looking to, build on the fact that he's been a healthy scratch for 4 straight, or you put Declan Chisholm in to get that, a guy who feels confident in his game, got those 2 games back to back. And from Declan Chisholm's perspective, you don't want that to be a repeat of what happened 2 years ago, where he played the Detroit game, he played the St. Louis game, and then he didn't play again with the Jets. So again, like I said, it's all well and good, and I'll get back to Rick Bowness's thing, and then we can do. I mean, there's not that many goals to go over, Drew, so there's not that much that we have to worry about on the Betway game recap. But
it's also 12:30 in the morning, so
Oh no, it's fine. No, but I was gonna say, like, one of the comments that Rick Bowness made in speaking about the defense and the choices that they'll make, and I'll just read it to you, and then we can get into it. But like,
yeah.
So I'm just bringing it up as we speak. Didn't know we were going to go here, but like his comment was, and I quote, at this time, it's a game-to-game thing. We're not going to let Nate Schmidt, our veteran, sit out very long either. That's not fair to him. Listen, with 8 defense and you want them all playing, it's a juggling act. There's no question. We'll always go on the ice with the best lineup we feel gives us a chance to win that night. So I just think it's interesting, right? Because it's like, does Logan Stanley inclusion over Schmidt or Chisholm give you a better chance of winning each night? Doesn't seem, his words and his actions don't seem to match each other.
I would agree with that. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. I what you have in Logan Stanley. You know what the ceiling is, you know what the floor is, and they're both pretty close to each other. And it's not like the floor is that high. So you don't fully know what you have in Declan Chisholm. And if you're not going to put Declan Chisholm in against, all due respect to San Jose, a team that's been playing better, when are you putting him into your lineup? Are you putting him into your lineup tomorrow? I mean, and I have no problem if he does come into the lineup tomorrow,
right?
But that's a hell of a lot of a stiffer test for a young defenseman to go up against a Los Angeles Kings team that is certainly one of the better teams in the NHL, and you're going to put them up against a lot of veteran forwards who know how to expose young defensemen. So it's a real steep challenge ahead for him if he's in the lineup. Whereas if you put him in tonight, this is the kind of game where I think he would have been successful. San Jose, I don't think, is forechecking. I mean, never mind. I know they didn't forecheck very hard. They're a skating team. Declan Chisholm would have been one of the best skaters on the ice tonight. He would have been able to transition the puck. He would have been able to move the puck. I just, for the life of me, don't understand the logic. I don't know why you go 11-7 in general. A lot of the decision-making tonight was what I would describe as curious for a game that the Winnipeg Jets, I mean, look, I know you're without Kyle Connor. I know that that's, certainly a huge blow, and we're going to talk about that, and it's going to be a storyline until he returns to the Jets lineup. And, 6 weeks from now, 8 weeks from now, whatever the timeline is going to be. And as an addendum, for those of you, and I don't think it's anyone in this chat, but I have, we've seen people saying that Mike McIntyre is not a reliable source. Mike is an unbelievably reliable source. If Mike McIntyre is saying 6 to 8 weeks for Kyle Connor, he's being told that. He's not plucking that out of nowhere.
No,
he's being told that by a reliable source.
Yeah.
As somebody within either Connor's camp or within the Jets camp themselves. So it's not coming just out of nowhere. He's not playing doctor and speculating. Mike is as reliable a source as it comes. So, if he's saying 6 to 8, you can pretty much you can bank on it that he's not going to be back playing on Saturday night against the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah, and then the last thing I'll just say, because it's further to the point you just made, Drew, about giving these guys a chance. I saw Ville Heinola today at Hockey for All Center, and he looked fine, and he's getting back there, and he's on the ice. My point is that he's not that far away potentially, and again, I don't know when he's actually going to be ready to take contact again. As I said, Friday should be an interesting one. Rasmus Kupari, again, his timeline, because Scott Arniel told us last month it was going to be 4 to 7 weeks. I think that was November 7th. I can't remember exactly, but the point is that it's been about 4 weeks since we spoke to Scott Arniel about Rasmus Kupari. So he may, again, I'm not saying he's going to save the day for the Jets, but you have to make some decisions as an organization. So again, you're going to have Heinola, and went to Heinola. And again, we know that Heinola is going to go to the Moose. And that's a 2024 decision for Winnipeg, but you'd rather be able to say, okay, and to the comment you just made, throw Chisholm in against the Kings and see what he can do against an upper echelon team, because that's kind of what you want to be able to do, right? You want to be able to see how a guy is going to handle tough competition. So again, we've probably spent a lot of time on the defense because we thought it was notable. And guess what? It's our show. We get to do whatever we want. Oh, yeah.
The power is gone to our heads, and we have run amok.
Drunk with power.
Yes, exactly. We are drunk with power in tonight, the Illegal Curve post-game show, I guess, early this morning as the Jets lose to the San Jose Sharks by a 2-1 margin. The Jets power play not powerful tonight by any means at all, as they go 0 for 5, whereas a power play goal very easily could have been the difference in tonight's contest. Why don't we get into it? The game.
Hold on one sec, Drew. Not to be not too ominous, but I did take note that last year, this is game. What game was this tonight? I
believe 27. If I'm not mistaken, maybe 27.
So through the first 25 last year,
game 27.
27. So 26. So, but through 26, the Jets also had just on a 4-game winning streak and then lost this game.
They lost to the San Jose Sharks.
Dun, dun, dun. No, it wasn't the Sharks, but they lost. Okay. They lost after being on a 4-game win streak at the exact same point.
So what you're saying is this is the high point, and it's the beginning of the end. Is that what?
No, I actually don't believe that, but like I said, it's just.
But it's it's definitely going to be an uphill battle tomorrow.
Well, they're going to have to change the way they play. Kings. They're gonna have to change the way they play. They're not scoring as many goals. You don't. Again, we talked about it. You lost Kyle Connor. You're not scoring as many goals.
And you're playing against an LA team, by the way, that is also the only team that's basically that's as stingy as you are, or more stingy than you are in terms of the goals against, is the Los Angeles Kings. They've given up 58 this year, which leads the entire NHL. They've given up 58. The next closest is the Bruins, who've given up 65, and then the Jets. The only difference is the Los Angeles Kings also score goals, 7th most in the NHL. The Kings have been great this year to start the season, and the plus 34 goal differential is a big reason there why that has been the case. So it'll be a very tough battle for the Jets tomorrow night to try and make it 3 out of 4 on this road trip, where you thought that might have been sitting there in their back pocket entering tonight's game against previously dead last San Jose Sharks. Let's get into the game. We'll go in the period by period, goal by goal recap. It's called the Betway Game Recap.
The Betway Game Recap.
The beauty of the late games, Dave, even though it's well past my bedtime, is that I have no children around me.
Yes.
My kids, of course, but I have a lot more time to take notes. See, I even have a notepad, and
wow,
it's got some scribbles on it and things of that nature.
I use Twitter as my notes, but go on.
Yeah, I appreciate that as well. But so I was jotting down some notes as I was watching that first period, and as we mentioned, the Jets came out lethargic would be the best way to describe it. And if it wasn't for Laurent Brossoit's early heroics, it would have been a much more one-sided first period. The Jets outshot 7-0 to start and 12-1 at the first TV timeout. So the Jets are outshot 12-1 6 minutes into this game, and if it wasn't Laurent Brossoit, who made a number of tremendous saves early in the contest, the Jets would have been in significant trouble.
Oh, it was ridiculous. I mean, I jokingly tweeted, did the Jets think it was a 10 o'clock start, not a 9:30 start? Because
don't give them any ideas. I can't do 10 o'clock starts.
I mean, that was a ridiculous way of allowing your goaltender to get into a hockey game, I guess. And I mean, it was interesting because if, as many fans will remember, when Connor Hellebuck made his 51 saves, I want to say it was in November of 2019 against the Sharks, that, I mean, it was a ridiculous, I think he made 51 saves on 53 shots, right? And I thought, well, this is setting up for another one of those types of games because, do the extrapolation, Drew. It wasn't hard to figure it out. It was going to be potentially even higher, 75, something in that nature. And I was like, well, that could be an interesting record for Laurent Brossoit. But I mean, again, you're going to talk about the high danger chances, and they were pretty even. I think it was like 13-12 overall in the total in the game.
In the total of the game was 13-12 in favor of the Winnipeg Jets at 5-on-5.
At 5-on-5, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I mean, again, there was similar to the other game where the Ducks started off quickly and had some good chances. I thought the Sharks had some good chances early, and Laurent Brossoit was sharp. And you kind of felt like, okay, well, he's in the zone right now, and that's going to be good for the Winnipeg Jets because they don't appear to be. They're in the twilight zone right now. That's about the only zone Winnipeg appeared to be in. And so, again, it was good to see that Laurent Brossoit. I mean, I guess if you want to take away a positive, if you're looking for some positives from tonight's game, the play of Laurent Brossoit is definitely a big plus for the Winnipeg Jets.
And that's now 3 straight games that Laurent Brossoit has been in net for the Jets, or the 3 straight Brossoit starts is the better way I should phrase it, that the Jets have started very slow, and he's kept the team in it to until they can find their skating legs. You remember the game against Carolina, which would have been that would have been a week ago Monday, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So about 8 days ago, the Jets were terrible in that first period, and Laurent Brossoit stood on his head. And then even before that, the game that he gave up that real stinky goal in Nashville, again, the Jets were real slow to start. So Laurent Brossoit has certainly been playing better hockey game by game over the last few games, and for whatever reason he's had to, because the Jets have not been starting very well at all, especially in the last few games where he's been in net. So they needed him. They relied on him early in tonight's contest. Like I said, the Jets getting outshot 12-1 at the TV timeout. Ultimately, though, the Jets did find their game and ended up out after that point, after that first TV timeout, the Jets outshot the Sharks 14-3 for the rest of that first period. So the Jets needed 7-8 minutes to get their skating legs and to really figure out how they wanted to play against the San Jose Sharks. And that's in the first period, the shots ended up 15-15 and the goals ended up 1-1. And it's the Sharks who opened the scoring. It's Justin Bailey, his first of the year, his first in like 5 years is what I saw a tweet from
2018.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. I think it was, I'm not sure who it was in Vancouver. It was one of the Vancouver reporters, I think, who tweeted that last goal that Bailey scored was when he was a member of the Canucks. And it's his first, and assist to Mike Hoffman and Jan Ruda. And I'll be honest, I didn't know Jan Ruda was still a defenseman in the NHL. That was not a who's who of defensemen on the back end for the San Jose Sharks, which is why the Jets were so successful at grinding the game, ultimately losing, but grinding the game when they had those opportunities, when they were able to get it down low, and they dominated, because San Jose really does not have an NHL caliber of defense back there. But 1-0 is the Sharks did get the lead at the 9:17 mark. Bailey, it's a low to high play. Justin Bailey, really from the top of the circle, he's got all sorts of daylight. He's got all sorts of time and space, and he rifles it past Laurent Brossoit post and in to give them the 1-0 lead, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, look, and as we usually suggest, it's not just one play here that, unfortunately for the Jets, doesn't go right. Nino Niederreiter has the puck along the boards and has a chance to chip it out, doesn't do that, right? David Gustafsson goes to back him up, doesn't help. Brendan Dillon, a little slow behind the net, doesn't get to it. And Neil Pionk isn't able to clear his man out in front, so Laurent Brossoit's eyes are completely removed. And what does that set itself up for? Set itself up for the 1-0 game for the Sharks, right? So Dillon's a little bit slow. And like I said, Pionk just can't take his man in front. And so he's, essentially kind of turned backwards, and Brossoit is completely obstructed. And, give Bailey credit, even though, again, not exactly a sniper, but he finds the back of the net. So you're finding yourself, I think the shots were 13-4 at that point. And so you're just wondering, Like, I almost thought Rick Bowness might take the time out there at that point, to be honest with you, because it was kind of like, what is going on here with your team?
Well, I think he used the TV timeout for that. I think he was trying to get to the TV timeout in order, and that's when he sort of probably, gave them the smelling salts or the proverbial smackdown. I'm not talking about The Rock, but hey, wake up, guys! You can't play like, you can't just expect to walk in here and win. The San Jose Sharks team, they were at the bottom of the NHL standings, but 5-2-1 in their last 8 games is 5-2-1 in their last 8 games. They're playing like a confident bunch.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, and like I said, they're when teams are told they're supposed to lose and they're terrible teams and they love that. Like teams love hearing that they stink.
You got nothing to lose.
And they're the suckiest bunch of sucks that ever did suck.
Right.
And a lot of these guys still want to play for future contracts. So I mean, again, you're still going to get guys who are trying. They're not there just to be like, sure, we're going to be fodder for every team that we play, and they'll still play with heart. So you look again, their teams can. Any team in the NHL can beat any team in the NHL. I know folks don't want to believe that, but it's the truth. I mean, it happens, right? So the fact is that it's a breakdown on the goal. And again, Nino Niederreiter chips that, and we're team Nino Niederreiter here, generally speaking. But if he chips that puck a little bit harder, it gets out, and it doesn't stay in their end. If Brendan Dillon gets that puck quicker behind the net, then again, they don't put it in front to Bailey, and if Neil Pionk clears the front of the Jets net, guess what? Laurent Brossoit sees that shot all day, and he makes a save. So again, number of things go wrong, and it ends up in the back of your net, and now you're down 1-0. And again, you're really weren't thinking what the hell's going to happen in this game, because again, I didn't anticipate that the Sharks were going to like destroy the Jets like a 5-0 game. But you were, based on the shots, and you can say shot quality and all that stuff, but still, it's 13-4, and that's just shots that are hitting the net, not necessarily shots on net.
Yeah, look, the Sharks controlled the pace of play to start the game until the Jets were able to get back into it, and then once the Jets did, they really took over the first period and a lot of the early chances in the second period. And in fact, the Jets tie it up at the 16:09 mark of the first period, and it's the legendary sniper for the Winnipeg Jets, Brendan Dillon. It's ruled unassisted, which I wonder if that's going to change at any point in time. But for now, it's considered unassisted. I thought Neil Pionk probably deserved more on this one, because he starts the play with a nice chip and chase, and he goes and he forces a turnover that the Sharks, again, can't handle a forecheck. And then the puck goes back up to Brendan Dillon, and he makes no mistake in getting the Jets goal, which is also our Seagram shot of the game.
The Seagram shot of the game.
Big thanks to our friends at Seagram's for their continued support and continued sponsorship of the Illegal Curve post-game show. If you're looking for a drink, perhaps you want a tasty fireball drink, whatever you do, we encourage you, and our friends at Seagram's encourage you to please drink responsibly. Brendan Dillon, he's up to 5 goals on the year. Like I said, it's an unassisted goal at this point in time, even though Neil Pionk, I think, deserves a lot of credit for forcing the turnover in the neutral zone, carrying the puck, chipping and chasing, forcing the strong forecheck where the Sharks defender on this play is only just able to send it up to the blue line. And Brendan Dillon with a seeing eye shot that Vlad Nemesnikov looks like he may have deflected, or everyone thought at first he deflected it, but apparently it just goes off of Mackenzie Blackwood's glove and into the net, tying the game up at 1 with a little less than 4 minutes to play in the first period.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's your boy Jan Ruda who isn't able to clear. He takes a shot, which is obviously the reason why Neil Pionk wouldn't get an assist on there, because he's the one who rims it around the board.
I guess so,
and
that's true.
And good on Brendan Dillon for being able to stop it. And what are we talking about? Firing a puck on net?
Yeah,
because that was, again, and we'll get into this later when we talk about the Jets' power play. But the idea is, especially now when you don't have Kyle Connor, you cannot be too cute. And the Jets are trying to be too cute with the perfect shot and trying to finesse it through 3 bodies. And again, like I said, sometimes that's not a bad thing, but you're once you get through the first level, are you going to get it past the second layer? I should say first layer, second layer. And the problem is they're not. So again, they just need to get those dirty shots on net. And right now, muck it up. And this is exactly what you want to see. You want to see Brendan Dillon seeing there's an opportunity, same as what we saw with that Velarde goal in Anaheim, right? Velarde is going from center ice to the boards, and he sticks his stick back and redirects it in. But the point is, Nemestikov takes away the ice. It's the same thing that happened in the goal against the Jets. So Brendan Dillon sees there's an opportunity, fires on that. He's either hoping that Nemestikov is going to tip it, or similarly, he's hoping that he'll create a screen that Blackwood won't be able to see the puck. And sure enough, it ends up in the back of the net. So good on Brendan Dillon. I mean, he's now up to 5 goals, which matches his second highest goal total. 6 is his best with Dallas. He had 5 with San Jose once, and he's actually, again, he's on pace for like 16 this year. Don't know that he's going to hit that lofty goal, but he should be able to eclipse his highest ever. And the Jets are in this. And then suddenly now you're thinking, okay, well, as we've talked about, Drew, the Jets, you could feel the Jets are coming on now. They're feeling a little bit better. They've turned the ice is a little bit more even at this point. I mean, shots were 15-10 in favor of San Jose. So you can feel the Jets are coming on after being, heavily outshot throughout the majority of the first 10 minutes. And then the last 10 minutes, it seemed to be almost all Jets. And so suddenly now it's a 1-1 game, and the Jets are thinking, okay, we're about to go and turn this around. Because just remember, coming into this game, and this goes to show you about the totality of the season, the Jets are a +17 team in goal differential. The Sharks were -54. And again, obviously they've also had 3 games where they gave up more than 10. Sorry, where they gave up 10 goals a game, which will heavily destroy your goal differential. But again, it's one of those situations where for Winnipeg, you're not probably going to be scoring a ton of goals this season without Kyle Connor, or you're going to be missing a ton of goals, I should say. So you have to just know that again, are going to have to slowly work by committee. And so again, getting a Brendan Dillon to score is a big thing. And suddenly you're thinking, okay, the Jets have kind of figured it out. They've put that first 10 minutes of the game again aside, and now they're starting to get it figured out.
Well, and they certainly played better than San Jose for the last 10 minutes of that second period. And they started last 10 minutes of the first period. And they started the second period off well as well. The Jets were really in control for the first, 8 or so minutes of that second period. They had opportunities, on the Jets power play with William Eklund in the box. This is in the second period. He's in the box for holding, and Josh Morrissey hits the post. So that's a really good opportunity for the Winnipeg Jets. But a lot of their play tonight was perimeter based, and it wasn't where it needed to be, which, to beat Mackenzie Blackwood, given the collapsing Sharks, the strategy of the Sharks. I mean, Kevin Sawyer, Dan Robertson, they said it on the broadcast multiple times that no team in the NHL blocks as many shots as the San Jose Sharks do. Now, that's also a sign that the San Jose Sharks don't have the puck on the very often, but know that they know that for them to succeed, they need to block shots, because they're not going to win the possession battle more often than not. They don't have the defense. I mean, their defense is horrendous. Let's not sugarcoat it. Their defense, in terms of the actual players they have on the ice, are not NHL caliber. They are fringe at best. So what does the team compensate for that? The team compensates by trying to block absolutely everything and trying to make it so that you can't get to that front of the net, simply because there's too many bodies there. And the Jets had difficulty sort of figuring out that puzzle. And, when they had opportunities, the opportunities were generally from the outside, and Mackenzie Blackwood was better tonight than he had been earlier this year. And after 40 minutes, no other action, no other blood is drawn, and it's still 1-1 after 40 minutes. And then once you get into the third period and it's anybody's game, that's when one goal can be such a difference maker. And the Jets, again, they had 2 power play opportunities within the first they had a power play opportunity, within the first 2.5 minutes of the third period. Puck over glass penalty by one of those beleaguered San Jose Sharks defensemen.
Henry Thrun.
Henry Thrun. Yeah, again, not a household name.
No.
the Jets can't do anything with it. So again, another missed opportunity. And the Jets just run into then trouble, and Laurent Brossoit has to make a number of big saves. You think about that save he made on Mikael Granlund with about 7.5 minutes to play.
Right.
That was an absolutely massive save, because I think the Jets and the third period got a little bit away from them and went back to being a transition game, a game off the rush, which plays into what San Jose wants. The Jets in that second period, and I thought for the last 10 minutes or the last 15 or so minutes of the first period, really did a good job turning it into a grinder, turning it into a board battle-esque kind of game. And then as the third period went on, they got away from that, Dave.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. And I saw your tweet and I agreed with it. And you were thinking, are they going to be able to do this? And again, it's the difference in this game is the power plays. I mean, you go 0 for 5. Obviously, we're the last one is the one that hurt them, because that was the one that could have tied the game for them.
Yeah.
And it's the urgency, right? Like it's just a lack of urgency. It's just like these guys feel like they have, even with like as time is running out, and you're watching the game and you're like, why? Like I tweeted this, and I suspect folks in the chat will appreciate it. I said, and believe me, there was plenty of room in San Jose to be able to have Jets fans there. But I said, I think the team needs Jets fans yelling shoot, because they don't realize that they're supposed to shoot the puck. They're doing a lot of passing. And it was
perimeter.
Again, just trying to set up the perfect cross ice pass, or, and again, don't get me wrong. Some of the passing that was made in this game was fantastic, right? Like Nikolai Ehlers made a few. I'm thinking of that one where he circled behind the net and then hit Brendan Dillon at the point, and then Dillon fired it on the net. Like there were a number of very good ones, but it was too much on the outside. It was too slow. It was too measured, and there wasn't enough chaos. And again, like you said, Drew, like this is a Sharks team that blocks a lot of shots. Yeah. So, the Jets taking time to set up, well, guess what? That allows them to get into position. And you've got guys, again, who have a lot of pride. These guys aren't, like I said, they're not afraid to, as T. Conapoli would say, get a little dirty and block some shots. So that's what they did. And they certainly blocked enough shots in this game. And they had a lot of giveaways, though. I didn't realize the giveaways were 8-0 in favor. In San Jose gave away the puck that much. But again, I should be.
You give away the puck when you're pressured and you're an inexperienced defense, and
Phyllis
you can't handle it.
Phyllis says that she does that at the games all the time. She yells, "Shoot the puck!" So the Jets should actually bring Phyllis on the road.
Then maybe Phyllis needs to be on the plane. Thank you to T. Conapoli. As per the Illegal Curve Charter, if you ever give us money, we highlight it and thank you publicly for doing so.
Today. Sorry, go ahead. I'll get into my thought in a second.
I was just going to say thank you to T. Conapoli, always one of our loyal viewers here of the Illegal Curve post-game show, as we rapidly approach the 1 a.m. hour, and so many of you are still with us on this now Wednesday morning. Go ahead, Dave. What were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say, first of all, T. Kona, as I mentioned, check out the Instagram, because I posted a photo, and I mentioned you in the description of the photo, but I didn't tag you because you go by T. Conapoli. I know what your real name is. I just don't want to out you if you don't want to be outed. So I wanted to keep your anonymity as T. Conapoli. But the point I was going to make was about Nikita Chibrikov. People were saying I'm being protectionist over guys like Chibrikov and Lambert and Zhilkin.
What are you, a government? You're a government protecting your oil or something?
Yeah, exactly. That's what people are suggesting, that I'm somehow protecting the young Jets prospects and wanting them on the Moose for myself, which is probably maybe a little bit true. But the point is, and I said to them, I tried to explain to this person, I said, what the reality is that I try and base my observations or my comments on the observations I make following these two teams and being around these two teams and following what the organization's dictates are for their prospects. And so to me, again, I don't think you're going to put Brad Lambert or Nikita Chibrikov into these roles before you've had a full season of AHL hockey. It's the same as, look, the Jets tried that with, ironically enough, who did the Jets try this with the first time around? It's the player they're trying to replace, Kyle Connor.
Yeah.
Remember, 1 year at the University of Michigan, everybody's like, oh, and I believe me, I watched every single game that kid played at the University of Michigan. Maybe not every single game, but pretty much every single game. The point I'm making is when he came to the NHL, what did he score? 5 goals. Like he just couldn't do it. He went down to the AHL. Remember, he went down to the AHL, couldn't score at the AHL either till the end. And then he went on fire. He scored like 21 in 24 games. It was ridiculous. But the point I'm making is, started the next season in the AHL. I think he had like 3 and 2 and 5 or something like that. He scored. He did well. Got called up. Never looked back. Similarly, I think you're going to do the same. The Jets are going to do the same for Brad Lambert. The same for Nikita Chibrikov. I understand what people are saying. You want someone with skill, but you're not going to get.
They're too young. I mean, this doesn't need. I think we're beating a dead horse a little bit here, folks.
Well, no,
they're not ready. They're not ready.
Well, again, they're doing well at the AHL level.
Right.
Again, people see Brad Lambert score an OT winner.
Yeah.
And but remember, the Jets are trying to develop Lambert as a center, not as a winger. So again, there's a variety of things. I think Chibrikov is very good, but I mean, he's played 17 games right now in the AHL. So
let's let him marinate,
like I said,
for a while longer. I mean, we don't need to. Again, it's a dead horse at this point in time. It would be past performance usually gives a reasonable glimpse as to what the future is going to look like. And the Jets have never rushed one of their players.
Well, exactly.
And so why would you expect that all of a sudden they're going to start to rush somebody? Now, if they're looking to replace Kyle Connor, I think a trade is more likely than a call up of one of the young Moose players. I mean, we've seen, talk about Mike McIntyre of the Winnipeg Free Press. He's been reporting that the Philadelphia Flyers, who we know are allegedly listening to offers on Sean Walker and Travis Konechny, have been tied to the Winnipeg Jets recently and have been following the Jets around as they moved from Colorado to Anaheim and to San Jose. Not saying that a trade is imminent, but there's a little more smoke there than there would be about calling up one of these young guys, who've only played a handful of AHL games. It's a separate issue altogether. We can deal with that more on Saturday morning's Illegal Curve Hockey Show. That's going to be live on location. As a reminder, 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, we're going to be live at Farmery Brewing, their retail location, number 2 Donald Street, right behind the Midtown Car Wash over there. Come check us out. We're live there Saturday morning. It's the Illegal Curve Hockey Show live on location starting at 9 a.m. from Farmery Brewing, number 2 Donald Street.
And because all of you are in the chat with us at 1:00 in the morning, we've got some coupon codes that if you want to buy some IC beer online through the website, farmery.ca, IC20 OFF24. So IC20 off 24. So you get a $20 off of it.
Off
24.
24.
And then actually, I think Eric used my codes. I just realized. And then IC8 off 12. You got that, Drew? So if you buy 24, you get $20 off a flat.
12.
There we go, Drew. Showing you. And then that's 8 off of $12 of 12 of the IC beers. So
there you go. We're giving you beer discounts here on the folk at 1 a.m. That's what we're doing for you, folks.
Yeah, if you want to order some beer, go ahead.
We're giving you beer discounts to buy the great Illegal Curve lager from our friends at Farmery Brewing. But come on Saturday morning and definitely take advantage of that.
9 to 11.
Yeah, it's allegedly Spency's going to be out in the parking lot tailgating. That's the word on the street.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah, so be sure to join us on Saturday morning for that. Before we wrap up tonight's game, of course, we have to talk about what ends up being the game-winning goal for the San Jose Sharks, with Dylan DeMello in the penalty box for hooking, a call that he vehemently disagreed with, and with Logan Stanley unable to clear the puck and getting his pocket picked by Anthony Duclair. It's Duclair to Granlund across the ice, a one-timer on the stick of William Eklund, who is still a young player, former first-round pick of the Sharks. Still have a lot of hope for him, the Sharks do. And Laurent Brossoit can't quite get post-to-post in time, and Eklund beats him with the one-timer short side to give the Sharks the 2-1 lead with less than 5 minutes to play in the third period.
I want to call that goal an E5 because, in honor of Eklund. But it's a tough one for the Jets. You kind of had that feeling. You're like, okay, late power play. And it's just, again, here's an instance where Logan Stanley's speed, Drew, or lack thereof, may have burnt them a little bit because, he gets turned around and he loses his man.
Yeah.
And, the Sharks, it creates that confusion. It creates that space.
He's just not decisive. His decision making is just not decisive enough. And his decision making at this point in time should be better. And if you don't make good decisions at this point in time, after this many games in the NHL, you are what you are. I mean, and again,
but just to focus on this play though, right? I mean, again, he's got the puck.
Yeah.
He can't clear it. And then the problem for him is not only does he do that, but he's in no man's land. He's not doing anything when once you've already lost that opportunity to kind of make that initial stop. Now he's just standing around. And so, again, you're allowing, he doesn't clear the front of the net even.
Well, because he's now a half a step behind the play. Right. And so it almost becomes a bit of a, it's too simplistic to say that it's a 5-on-3.
Brian Griebe. Hold on, let's give a big shout out to Brian Griebe. He's a longtime IC follower and
lives in San Francisco in the Bay Area.
Yeah, he's a Bay Area native. So we big shout out to Brian.
He's listening he's on the 101. That's the Highway 101, the interstate or the freeway in California, listening as I assume he's coming home from the game. So Brian, always great to hear from you and see you in the chat tonight. But again, Stanley gets his pocket picked because he's not decisive enough when he's got the puck on his stick. And then it almost becomes a modified 5-on-3. And the Sharks make no mistake. They see an opportunity and they don't waste any time. It's fast passing. Because, the guys who are around on this play, are Duclair, Granlund, and Eklund. And whatever you think of Duclair and Granlund, and, I don't think those are guys who are going to be winning you a Stanley Cup anytime soon. They're at least bona fide NHL players. Mikael Granlund is, bounced around a whole hell of a lot, and he's always, sort of left more, you watch him and there's talent there, but it is always more that you feel than he gives. And Duclair, again, another guy who's bounced around a whole hell of a lot. You remember when he was on Ottawa and then he was on Florida. Now he's, in San Jose this year. And Eklund was a first-round pick. I think he was a 7th overall pick. So again, guys who have talent and they have a bit of a 5-on-3, a modified 5-on-3, because Stanley is now scrambling to get back in the play. But once you're a half a step behind, that's all it takes in the NHL. That's all it takes at this level. Half a step it might as well be 2 steps behind, because the puck moves quickly and it moves decisively, and they don't waste any time in taking advantage of that. And Eklund beats Laurent Brossoit with the one-timer.
Yeah, and that ends up being the difference in the game. So I mean, it's an unfortunate situation for the Jets because it was a well-played hockey game, and I actually thought it was going to be an OT game, to be honest with you, Drew. And I was like, oh, cool, even later than our 12:15 expected start time. But I mean, the Jets had the opportunity, and we talked about that. And you had 2 opportunities, right? You had a 6-on-5 on the delayed penalty, then you had a power play of 5-on-4, and then you had another 6-on-5 when you pulled the goaltender. And there were 1 or 2 opportunities. And like I said, I'm not taking anything away from this game, but the only player who really stood out to me as a really effective player was Laurent Brossoit.
Well, you know what? Hang on, I want to stop.
No, I'm not going to limit. I was going to say, he was the best of the group. I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, he was the reason why the Jets were still in it, especially after that first period, and a number of other key saves he made throughout the course of the game.
Right.
I did want to say though that I thought Gabe Vilardi played one of his better games since returning. I thought he had more.
Well, he played like 5 games.
Well, I know, but I thought that this was the first game where I thought he had a little more jump into him. That maybe he had a little more. He had his skating legs a little bit better than some of the previous games, where I think he was still sort of getting used to it and feeling things out. That line for the Jets tonight. I mean, that line was very good for the Winnipeg Jets. Now you want them to be able to score. In a game
definitely.
Like that.
There's no question they created opportunities. They did.
Right. They were so Ehlers, Scheifele, and Vilardi were 70% possession. Perfetti, Nemestikov, and Barron were 83% possession. And Scheifele, Ehlers, and Vilardi, that's 10 minutes of 5-on-5 ice time that they were really quite dominant their expected goals were 84%. So they played very well. That line for the Winnipeg Jets played very well. So you'd like to see that, obviously, and you'd like to see Gabe Vilardi, getting back into it, because the Jets are going to need him, and they're going to need him offensively without Kyle Connor in their lineup for, let's just say, the foreseeable future is, I think, the best way to describe
the foreseeable future is for sure tomorrow. That's all we know, because Kyle Connor is currently in Winnipeg here, and the Jets are in, well, as of right now, they're probably in Southern California, Drew, but they were in Northern California. And it's just, again, it's one of those situations where they need to figure this out, because, I mean, you're playing against the Sharks.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night, later tonight, as it's been pointed out to us, it's now the morning.
Yeah.
So later tonight, when we're doing the show, 24 hours from now,
it's a step up in weight class against a very, very good Los Angeles Kings team.
You don't want to, like Rick Bowness said, he even made a comment. He made a comment today about the Kings. He goes, well, I don't want to say that we're looking past the Sharks. And I'm not going to give the Jets credit to say that, they're already counting these 2 points and they're moving on to LA. But we know that the Jets aren't happy with the way things went. We know that Gabe Vilardi is feeling a little uppity about how things went against his former club. So it'll be interesting to see how things, and maybe Alex Iafallo, you want those guys to be a little more animated, because you need to see a little bit more from them, and from Iafallo, not necessarily Vilardi, because I agree with you. I thought he was better. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just one of those things that you want to see the response from the Jets. Because again, this was an opportunity. This would have been your second 5-game winning streak of the season. And as you said, Drew, you would have been back in the mix for the Central, top spot in the Central. So
you would have been all the Central Division. Yeah.
That's right. So it's just all things that you need to do as a hockey club to, rebound. You've had a good road trip. You're 2-1.
Right.
So we'll see what they can do to finish things off tomorrow night.
Exactly. We'll talk about that a little bit later, right after the commercial break. We'll come back. The Tough Duck hardest hitting comment. Much more to come. Some of the post-game comments from Jets head coach Rick Bowness as well. It's 1:10 in the morning. You're already awake. Don't go anywhere. The commercials, and then we'll come back and much more of the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Your coworkers love you because you always make them laugh. You're the life of the party with stories that have them rolling on the floor. Or maybe you're just the quiet one in the corner with the one-liners that just slay. Do you have what it takes to become Winnipeg's funniest person with a day job? Try your luck. Hit the stage at Rumors Comedy Club, and you could be walking away with $1,000 cash. Winnipeg's funniest person with a day job. Presented by Rumors. For all the details, head to rumorscomedyclub.com.
So you're a pizza person, you married a wing person, but somehow your kids are salad people. You can't pick your fam, but you can pick your BP meal deal. Starting from $18.99 for takeout or delivery at bostonpizza.com.
The game can change just like that. Accidents happen when you aren't protected. So now what? Getting to your injury quickly can make all the difference. Help prevent them from being game changers with Linden Market Dental Center. Bonding, crowns, bridges, and dental implants. State-of-the-art treatments are available to help you get back in the game. To learn more, visit LindenMarketDentalCenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rollies Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
Boston Pizza harnessed Fanalytics to test if the game is better at home or at Boston Pizza. The results are irrefutable. Catch the game at Boston Pizza, powered by Fanalytics.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the illegal curve hockey show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. Wednesday morning, we're back with the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mindell, Dave Manouk, so many of you joining us to talk about the Jets and the San Jose Sharks. We appreciate that. Here's some of the post-game comments from the assembled media on site. Head coach Rick Bowness about the special teams. It was a factor. Specialty teams again. We give up a shorthanded goal. I think what he's saying is the Jets were shorthanded. And on our power play, we hit the power play and had some good looks, but you've got to score on those opportunities. The specialty teams were the difference in the game tonight. Here's Jets Cole Perfetti. They packed it in pretty good, San Jose did. It was tough to get to the middle of the ice. We really shouldn't be putting up any excuses here, Perfetti said. We've got to be better. We've got to score. Kyle Connor is out for a bit now. We can't use that excuse. We just need to put our heads down and work. Hopefully we can turn this thing around. So the special teams, certainly a big difference in tonight's game. We're really going to have to put our work boots on and work really hard, Cole Perfetti said about the Los Angeles Kings, the Jets' opponent tomorrow night. It's going to be a different game on Wednesday night. It'll be a different style. They play a little different, so it's going to be fun. The effort is there, but now the puck just has to go in the net. It'll be a tough one for the Winnipeg Jets tomorrow night against a very talented Los Angeles Kings team, especially coming off a disappointing loss to the San Jose Sharks tonight, Dave.
Yeah, for sure. And, it's all about tests, and you want to show that this is just a little speed bump. So we'll see if the Jets are up for it. And again, every team has to deal with adversity. The Jets did. The Jets dealt with adversity. They lost Gabriel Velarde in game, they got him for 2. They lost him in the first period of the third one. So, they dealt with his loss. They're now going to deal with Gabriel, with Kyle Connor's loss.
Yeah.
And you're just that's just the reality of many teams. And a lot of teams are dealing with it. And you can make excuses and they sound great. And again, they definitely factor in. You don't minimize it. It's definitely the reality. You don't remove the top scorer on this Jets club by a lot and say, well, it's not going to have an impact. It is, but as a team, you're going to have to figure out a way to adjust and adapt. It's kind of like a 3-legged dog. It can't sit there and lament the fact that it only has 3 legs instead of 4. It adapts. It learns how to run with 3, and that's what it'll happen. And so the Jets are going to have to figure out a way to adapt, and that's what we're going to see from this hockey club. Because again, we've been talking about it. It has a different feeling. This isn't last year. Rick Bowness is fond of saying, what was, or maybe not necessarily. Actually, that was more my Baba than Rick Bowness. But the point is,
get him confused all the time.
Shout out Baba Toots. But the fact of the matter is that, this is you have to have a short memory. So you put this one out, and you have to change some things about the power play because it's not working. And I saw some of the comments. Put Logan Stanley in front, put Adam Lowry in front, put someone in front. It doesn't really matter. Someone who's big and strong, because right now that doesn't seem to be working with the way it's currently configured. Maybe do some changes. We'll see. Obviously you don't have a lot of time between today or yesterday and today, but again, we'll see what happens. But you want to see what a team does with a little bit of adversity, because again, it's in the Stanley Cup playoffs. How many times do we see a team lose a guy who's critical to their aspirations? The Jets have been one of those teams. And it can either derail you or it can force you to, or it galvanizes, or it forces you to adjust. So we'll see what happens with this Jets club.
Last thing tonight, Tough Duck hardest hitting comment.
The Tough Duck hardest hitting comment.
Big thanks to all of the commenters tonight. Always appreciate everyone's contribution to the post-game show. We're going to give tonight's Tough Duck hardest hitting comment to Sparky. Jets made a bad choice of going 7 defensemen when Axel Jonsson-Fjällby is one player that's fast pressuring the puck. We've talked about the decision to go 11 and 7 throughout the course of the show, and both Dave and I agreed that a player like Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, especially against a weaker San Jose defense, would have made a difference in his ability to get in there on the forecheck. So Sparky, good comment. That's the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment. Send me an email, drew@illegalcurve.com, or on X @ICDrew, and send us your mailing address, and our friends at Tough Duck will send you out a toque. Congratulations on your victory in tonight's Tough Duck hardest hitting comment. It is now almost 1:20 in the morning, so it is well past my bedtime. So we're going to wrap it up there. We are going to say a big thank you to all of the sponsors of
Where's
Illegal
Frosty,
Curve.
by the way?
I'm not sure where Frosty is. I think he went to bed. I don't blame him. He made the post-game show, the Saturday show, and the website a possibility. Our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Linden Market Dental Center, Zappia Group Realty, Betway, Tough Duck, Boston Pizza, Seagram's, Rolly's Transfer, and Farmery Beer support all of these great local businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. Just if you thought you had enough of us today, well, guess what? We'll be back a little bit later today / very early tomorrow after the Jets and the Los Angeles Kings. We'll do it all again in a matter of mere hours. In case you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, leave us some feedback. IllegalCurve.com is your destination for all your latest Winnipeg Jets and Manitoba Moose news and audio. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. For Dave Manouk, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Until tomorrow night, just about midnight, maybe 12:15 in the morning on, I guess technically that would be Thursday morning, whatever day it is. You know where it's going to be for the Illegal Curve post-game show after the Jets and the Kings. Until then, we wish you a good night. I guess a good morning, as the case may be. Yeah, and good luck. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow @Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, IllegalCurve.com.